Hey gang, Spade of the Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Prime Deluxe Class Vehicon. Now this figure is, well, he's an interesting looking car. Whenever I take a look at the front of the vehicle, I can't help but think about the 2012 CTS Coupe from Cadillac. It really screams a coupe version of the Cadillac that's been heavily modified, we will say, with different side paneling and ground effects and a spoiler. It just is really reminiscent of that vehicle to me for some reason. The only accessory that this figure comes with is his gun, which we'll be taking a little bit look at in detail a little later. And it can fit on the vehicle in either of these slots in the front, which, to be honest, I get what they were going for, but it does look rather silly. It would be nice if there were two of them. That way you could have two guns sitting up here and make it look just a little bit more show accurate. So the overall look of the vehicle is quite good. I think the deep, dark purple really suits this thing well, and it just overall looks really cool. Now, I do have a little bit of a mistransformation, or it just might not be the panels lining up correctly, but on the driver's side for America, there is a gap on the window, but over here on the passenger side, you don't see that gap. So that's just probably me mistransforming it. And speaking of the transformation, I have to admit the transformation for this guy is pretty darn complex. It is not easy, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, as I said, the transformation for this guy is pretty darn complex. There's a lot of panel lining up that you have to do with this thing, unfortunately. So to start, we'll come around to the back and just kind of pull the rear wheels apart, and that will allow us to reach under and just pull everything off like that, and then lift up the front of the vehicle. Now, alternatively, what you could do is try to get your fingernail in here and pop the hood up, and then you can more easily pull everything out. And then just take the entire top of the car mode, just kind of lift it up and out of the way like that. Next, we'll come into the sides and unpeg the top of the front of the wheel wells apart from the doors like that, and then pull the front open like that. And then take these the front, the doors and the rear back of the car, and pull them all the way forward thusly. And then you can spin this whole top section around, but to do that, you really want to fold the hood up underneath the front windscreen or windshield and just kind of twist it around until you can get it around. Now, I realize I'm going to break it like that, so what we can do is we could go ahead and form the chest a little bit, reach underneath the back of the vehicle, fold the figurehead down, and then fold this chest piece down. That will allow us to lift things kind of out of the way, sort of. If we collapse the back like that, then we can do it. Unfortunately, the directions don't tell you to do that. They actually tell you to swing everything out, latch it into place, and then try to turn it around, which, as you can see, doesn't work. So, what I did, to recap, is I took the whole top section of the vehicle, and I popped the trunk section off the roof and then put it on top of the roof, and then lifted up and folded in the hood underneath the windscreen. And that allows me to turn the entire back half of the vehicle around like that. Now, underneath the trunk is this purple piece, which we have to pull the figurehead down, and then we can flip out this purple piece and then kind of just work it so that we can get the figurehead over or underneath it, and then deploy it down. And then we can pull the figurehead straight up and lock it into place. Once we do that, we can then fold the what was the rear wheel wells forward, and then roll them back up into position, and then that will allow us to peg them into place underneath the chest piece. Alright, so did you follow all of that? Next, we will form the arms last. We're going to concentrate on the legs. Take the wheel wells and fold them forward of the figure, like that. And then unfold the legs. Now, the directions don't... Now, well, one, the directions being in Japanese, I can't really understand them. It doesn't exactly say what to do with the legs once we've folded them, if you're supposed to fold them all the way out or just a little bit out. I like to fold them all the way up or all the way straight and actually back a little bit like that. So they're pointing a little bit like that. We'll do that on both sides and then just gently fold the wheels back. Then take the bits that are the headlights and the headlights of the vehicle mode, and get them and point them all the way back. You don't have to flip these parts out if you don't want to. Then we'll fold the front bumper down and keep folding it down until it clicks into place. And then we reach in here and fold out the feet. This is probably the hardest part for me since I don't have any nails. Now the directions say to push the feet all the way flush like that. I don't like to do that. I like to push them up just as far as they will go naturally. Because then you can point these out like that. And there's a reason I do that, and I will talk about that in a few minutes. Now for the arms. The arms are very simple. Simply unpeg the door panel and fold it straight down like that. And then fold out the hands. Now, when you fold out the hand like that from the inside the door panel, you then fold down the windshield and the under panel folds up into the arm thusly. Now here is where you can have a little bit of leeway. This is where we can hold the gun. You can either hold the gun, peg it in right underneath the hand like that. You could do that, or you could fold the hand up and peg the gun right where the hand is. And you could do it like that. Now I prefer to do that, and I actually prefer to do it on the figure's left arm, simply because you have the little bit sticking straight up. I prefer that look. And last but not least, come up to the shoulders and take the wheels and fold them down to the elbows. You don't have to do that. It's not a requirement. I just do it because it looks better. Because I think it gets the wheels out of the way and it adds a little bit of posability to the figure. Now, I will be the first to tell you that that transformation is a little bit complicated, and my description of the transformation was not very good, and I will endeavor to do better when we transform him back into vehicle mode, because I really think I need to show you guys that. It is a little bit tricky. Overall, the robot mode looks good, save for the gigantic backpack that is on the figure. Now, that would really bother me if it weren't for the fact that in the show, the characters do have quite a bit of a backpack to each character, or to each Vehicon that shows up in the show. They're all cannon fodder. What do you expect? Overall, though, I like the coloring. The black, the purple, and the blacks and the purples really go well. And we've got multiple different versions of purple here. We've got the deep, dark, almost black purple, the very slightly lighter than dark black purple, a more blue purple. So we've got all different gamuts of Decepticon coloring here. The head is modeled quite nicely, and I really do like the face. The very minimalistic face is nice, and I do appreciate that. Posability for the figure is not bad, but it is limited. Head is on a ball joint, but it is fairly limited due to the transformation, though he can look straight down at his feet. Arms, there is a ball joint up at the shoulder, though it is limited due to the backpack and the large shoulder. Elbows are on a swivel joint, or a hinge that does have a ball joint that with some limited movement. Wrists do not move. Legs are on a ball joint at the hips. The thigh is a swivel joint. There is a very nice hinge joint in the knee. And the feet do have a little bit of play, but the feet are very, very small, and they do suffer from just a little bit of flakiness. And by flakiness, I mean they're thin, they're small and thin, so there's a lot of potential for breakage and falling over. Hence why I like to deploy these little plastic bits and these rear hinges to actually work as extra heels. With some poses, it really does add a bit of extra stability to the figure. Now, a lot of times I do just like to have him just posed very menacing like. Now, you did just notice something. These pegs on my figure don't really peg in all that tight. It's not bad, it just, you gotta really work it and peg it in there if you want it to stay together. But now that I made sure that it's not going to move. The other minor issue is this backpack part does not fold up really nicely. It just kind of sticks there. I kind of wish there was an extra swivel joint up there so you could spin it around and put it down. But what are you going to do? So overall, I do like this figure. It's not perfect by any means, but it is pretty good and pretty good looking. So, would I recommend this for your collection? If you're a Transformers Prime fan, I would definitely recommend it. Honestly, I wish I had bought two. I wish I got two of these so I could have two guns. But, c'est la vie. I did pick this up at Robot Kingdom. It's now available at a bunch of other stores. By the time I got this, just about everybody else had it from the other stores, so like BBTS and TF So that kind of miffed me, but what are you going to do? Alright, so transformation back to vehicle mode. That's what I wanted to show you. We're going to start off by folding up the feet and then folding in that bumper section over the feet. That's pretty easy. Then we're going to collapse the leg at the knee and at the shin. So collapse the shin and then collapse the knee like that, and then turn it so that the front of the car is facing straight down. And then that will enable you to fold the wheels down like that. Now, I'm surprised that these don't peg in at all. There we go. Next thing we're going to do is actually lift up on the chest piece slightly, and that will allow us to fold these arm sections straight down like that. And then lift that piece up and just kind of get everything out of the way so that you can swivel it around. And see, things are just getting in the way here. So one of the things we can do is take the entire arm and just move it like that. And that will get everything just about out of the way enough. There we go. There we go. Okay, so next, we're going to actually come under here, push the head straight down, and lift the chest piece up, then push the head forward underneath the chest piece. That will allow us to fold the bottom part of the chest piece up and tuck the head up underneath. Excuse me. Okay, now that I've put that piece back, we tuck the head up and just slide that piece into place. Next, we're going to go ahead and close up the arms. Just put the tires back, put the wheels back, and then collapse the arm at the elbow. And do that on both sides. Though that would be pretty cool if you had a car that the door opened up and just a giant hand came out and grabbed you. That would be pretty cool. Alright, so we're almost there. And I think I did most of that off camera. I apologize. So, next we are going to flip out the hood, flip out the rear of the vehicle like that. And this is where things get a little weird. So what we're going to do actually is attach these parts together. Now, this is probably the hardest part of the transformation back into vehicle mode, is just getting that peg pegged in. I'm not kidding. It is the hardest part of the transformation. Just that peg right there. There we go. And then slide that forward and just kind of snap everything together. And there we go. And see, even though we did the full transformation, still got a little bit of an opening there on the driver's side door. And probably, oh no, just folded it in a little bit. Fold the windshield, or the windshield in a little bit, or the window in a little bit, and it works fine. So there we go. We are back in vehicle mode. Now I have to say, I really do like the vehicle mode. This figure is pretty good. It's not my favorite though. I still think all the other figures so far, Starscream, RC, I think they're better figures thus far, but this guy is still pretty good, and I think he deserves to be in your collection.